Welcome to the live stream, everybody. I'll tell you, it's great to have you here. We're obviously in studio, our brand new studio in our brand new building at First Star Logistics, and you're with Dave Lapham, and you're also in the trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. And we are going to talk schedule release. It's almost like another national holiday. The National Football League is a marketing machine. Man, the NBA, National Hockey League playoffs are going on. The NFL kicks their butt with the draft in terms of viewership, with the schedule release in terms of viewership. It is crazy how big the National Football League has gotten. And let me give you some of my thoughts about the draft, and then we'll get to yours, because I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what you think about the schedule. And if you want to talk about draft that the Bengals had or things of that nature, that's all fair game as well. But we got the 2024 schedule and preseason schedule. On August 10th, the Bengals travel to Tampa Bay. Or excuse me, they have Tampa Bay here in Cincinnati. On August 18th, the Chicago Bears on the road. And then on Thursday, the 22nd of August, the Indianapolis Colts are here in Cincinnati. So they're home for 2 of the 3 preseason games. Very little wear and tear. Travel to Chicago, that's a up and down flight, little puddle jumper there. So that's all good. How about the draft or the schedule for the Cincinnati Bengals? I mean, when I was a former player, I would first want to see how many national games we have. What does the league think about us? Well, the Cincinnati Bengals have 5 primetime games. And then they've also got 2 additionals that are at the 425 slot, 3 additionals at the 425 slot. So 8 of their games are either second game of a piggyback doubleheader or primetime games. 3 of the primetime games are on the road, 2 are at home. It's a heck of a tribute to the football team that the league thinks that highly of them, that almost half of the football games basically are in time slots where they want to showcase the Cincinnati Bengals to the rest of the country. That's pretty darn impressive. The other thing, I always wanted to know, how many big trips do we have? How many times are we going to be on the plane forever, having to get to a football game? The Bengals, their second fewest travel miles in the National Football League, 10,611. Washington is the only team that has fewer travel miles than them, and it's only 60 miles fewer. The LA Chargers, for example, they have the most travel miles in the league, 26,803, where the Cincinnati is located, right here in the southwest portion of Ohio. I mean, it is so centrally located to get anywhere in the country very, very easily. And they don't have to make that many long trips. I mean, it's a heck of a travel schedule for the football team as well. The other thing that struck me about this football team schedule, 5 new head coaches. And in the first 4 weeks, 3 new head coaches. The New England Patriots, the Bengals open up with at home, new head coach. They travel to the Kansas City Chiefs, away game, 425 kick there. So that's a piggyback doubleheader. Patrick Mahomes, tough challenge there. He's 15-4 in the month of September. Then a new head coach comes to Cincinnati with the Washington football team. And that is on Monday Night Football, 8:15 kick. And then the very next game, Carolina Panthers, September 29th on the road. That's a 1:00 kick. 3 of the first 4 games, new head coaches. 3 of the first 4 teams, the Kansas City Chiefs obviously are defending Super Bowl champions, but the Patriots, Washington, Carolina. Patriots 4-13 last year. Washington 4-13. Carolina 2-15. 10-41. We know the Bengals have had tough time the last 2 or 3 years, getting off to good starts and losing division games early. Well, there's no division games on the slate until week 7. Oh, no, excuse me, week 5 with Baltimore. They play Baltimore at home after Carolina. They could get off to a great start. If they can handle business in Kansas City, get off to a 4-0 start, no worse than a 3-1 start. All of a sudden, here comes Baltimore to Cincinnati. Man, if you can get that first division win against the Baltimore Ravens here in Cincinnati on October 6th, that'd be massive. Then on the 13th, the Giants. It's a away game, Sunday Night Football. That one. Giants, I think, are a solid defensive football team. Who's gonna play quarterback for them? They have quarterback issues. They're not a terrible football team by any stretch of the imagination. They got their quarterback issues. Then you got Cleveland away, a 1:00 kick there, and we know the Cleveland Browns have a solid roster top to bottom. The biggest question mark there, obviously, is the quarterback position as well. Philadelphia, October 27th. That's a 4:25 kick. That's a piggyback doubleheader. Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow go against each other for the first time. One thing about Cleveland, the away game on the 20th, October 20th, Joe Burrow is 1-5 against Cleveland. You got to get that rectified. You got to start taking care of business against the Cleveland Browns with a healthy Joe Burrow at the quarterback position. After the Philadelphia a game in Cincinnati at 4:25, the Las Vegas Raiders, and then you play Baltimore on Thursday night, November 7th, on the road, 8:15 kickoff, prime television package. That's a Thursday night game. This is where I think the league has been extremely fair to the Cincinnati Bengals from a schedule standpoint. You have a Thursday night game on the road against the Baltimore Ravens. The third straight year they've had a nationally televised game against Baltimore. Harbaugh has not lost in Baltimore on Thursday night. In fact, he hasn't lost in Baltimore at night ever, I don't think. I mean, Harbaugh is like a night owl, man. He doesn't lose at night. So you get Baltimore in a very, very tough matchup, obviously, late night game. But then you have 10 days off. You have a mini bye week until you have to play again. And not only do you have to play again, but you have to travel to the West Coast. But again, you have a mini bye week to recover. And you go to the West Coast to play the Los Angeles Chargers. Another new head coach, Jim Harbaugh. So that's 4 new head coaches in the first 11 games in the Cincinnati Bengals schedule. In my mind, that's an advantage. That's a plus. It takes a while to get your system indoctrinated to not only your players, but your coaches. First, you have to coach your coaches, and then the coaching staff in the entirety coach the players. I mean, it takes a little bit. So 4 of the first 11 opponents have a new head coach. And then after that Chargers game, which is the longest trip of the year for the Cincinnati Bengals, the most air miles, they have a bye. They have that Week 12 bye. That's the, I think, second latest bye week in franchise history, if I'm not mistaken. A late bye like that is good, in my opinion. You got 11 games under your belt, should be in pretty good position for the stretch drive. You come back from the bye week. You had three division games in the first 11 games before the bye, and you have 3 division games in the last 6 games to finish the season. In the month of December, it starts off with Pittsburgh at home. You have to take care of business against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Cincinnati. There's no question. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers, we know they got a great defensive football team. You know, they're going to be well coached. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. I mean, this football team is going to be in the hunt. The entire division, the AFC North, will be in the hunt. The entire division had a winning record last year, and they were in the hunt until the very last week for playoffs. And then that's on December 1st, December 9th, Monday Night Football. You got to go to Dallas for a Monday Night Football game. First time that Mike Brown and Jerry Jones will be teeing it off against each other on national television. Last year in 23 season, Dallas did not lose a home game. They ran the table at home. Dallas is a tough place to play. You got the Dallas Cowboys on December 9th. Then on the 15th, you have Tennessee, and that's on the road. And that's a new head coach. We all know about Brian Callahan, Callie. And at that point, his football team, they'll be indoctrinated into he and his dad's system, the Callahan system, how they're going to operate and how they're going to do things offensively. And that'll be an interesting challenge on the road in Tennessee. Then Thursday night, after that Tennessee game on the 19th, you got the Cleveland Browns at home in Cincinnati. 8:15 kick. That is big, big. You have Pittsburgh at home, Cleveland at home. You have those two division opponents in the first 4 weeks after the bye. Massive, massive football games. And then you finish with Denver at home, Pittsburgh on the road. And you always, schedule makers always have division games toward the back end, because that's where the rubber meets the road. Those are big tiebreakers. The AFC North is in my mind the toughest division in all of football. It's physical, and you're going to be pounding each other to death. You're going to have to handle business down the stretch with those division games. So that's some thoughts. I do think that the schedule, they don't have 3 straight road games at all. I think that's a plus. They don't have 3 straight home games at all. They have 2 straight on the road, 2 straight at home. But to start the season, they're home, away, home, away, home, away. Their first 6 games, it's like a rhythm. You can get that rhythm established. I think the National Football League has been very fair and to the Cincinnati Bengals, and it's a very balanced schedule, I think, in a lot of ways. They play just 3 teams outside of the division that had a winning record in 2023. And those are Dallas, Philadelphia, and Kansas City. But all 3 of the division rivals had winning records. Again, a testament to how tough and how strong the AFC North is for the Cincinnati Bengals. I think it's an exciting schedule. I think that there's going to be some definite tests, but I do think that if you can get off to that fast start, again, going back to the first 4 games of the season, 3 new head coaches in those first 4 opponents, that's significant. In my mind, that's significant. And if you can muster it up, beat Kansas City, Joe Burrow 3-1 against Patrick Mahomes. No other quarterback has a better record against Patrick Mahomes than Joe Burrow does. It's going to be a very interesting tilt out there at 4:25 in the afternoon out there in Kansas City. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to a lot of these football games. 5 primetime games, and then you got 3 other 4:25 games. Amazing. Really is. The National Football League thinks a lot of the Cincinnati Bengals, as do we. So let's open it up. Let's get after some thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, whatever the case may be, and see what we got, Dave.
Well, we're going to have to start with Yash, always from London.
Yes.
He goes, he's home in time from work to join in. Otherwise, an earbud on the train home. If we stay healthy, that's a Lombardi. He's hoping to be there for Reds, Bengals, FC Cincy in the fall. And he also says, Yoy Mature of the new studio when he comes to town.
All right, Yash, we'll have to finish that for you. You can take a look at the studio, the building. It's magnificent. I'm telling you. First Star Logistics has spared no cost, no thought. I mean, they thought of everything, spared no cost in getting it done. I mean, it's phenomenal. There's no doubt about it. And Yash, I agree with you. I think that I can see 12 wins in this schedule. Now, a lot of things have to go right. And the biggest thing, obviously, you have to stay healthy. And you have to stay healthy with your key players. But I see the football team that's being put together here in Cincinnati right now in free agency, in the draft, in college free agency. I see a football team that could win 12 football games. And that's what I think it's going to take to win the division. I mean, it's a competitive division. There's no doubt about it. I mean, and boy, you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers schedule. How'd the league do them any favors in terms of being fair and balanced? They have all 6 of their division games are in the last 8 weeks of the season. All 6 division opponents in the last 8 weeks. Wow. I'm telling you, if Pittsburgh has unfortunately suffered any injury of any significance, that's a tough dynamic right there to have all your division games down the stretch of the last 2 months of the season. It really is.
Natty Ron wants to know, Dave, is it possible Bengals pick up a vet cornerback?
I think it's possible, but there's the second round of free agency, but they're there for a reason. If they're still available and have not been signed to another football team, I think obviously the big thing that everybody's going to be watching is Dax Hill. It's no secret; it has been announced that Dax Hill is kicking out to the corner position. And they've done a good job in free agency addressing the safety position, bringing Von Bell back, and then also bringing Geno Stone to the fold from the Baltimore Ravens. So Dax Hill, they want to try at the cornerback position, and that's a wild card right there. You don't know exactly how that's going to pan out. What kind of a role will he assume? A starting role at a corner position? Will he be a nickel dime corner? You can never have enough good corners. There's no question about it. That's why, your question makes sense. If it can be done and it makes sense, I don't see why a veteran cornerback could not be added to this roster at this point in time. But I'm not sure that the odds are real high that it'll happen.
Jesse Leeper, hey Lap, love the new setup.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. I mean, it is. It's about as good as it gets. And I'll tell you too, we got Dave Burke, my man, is sitting right in front of me here in the studio, and right behind Dave, we have sliding doors and windows. I mean, it's like we can see everything that's going on outside from a nature standpoint, and just what's going on from a traffic standpoint and humanity. I mean, it's wide open. It's spacious. I feel like I'm outside when I'm in the studio. It's awesome.
No expense was spared in this building,
None.
Dave.
No dollars saved.
two kitchens.
That's right.
Couple conference rooms, a game room with a billiard table and a golf machine and other stuff still coming in. PS5, I think, is the next thing they're putting in. TVs all over the building.
Yep. And what I like too, Dave, is downstairs where the rubber meets the road. Everybody's doing all their work for First Star Logistics in terms of solicitation of freight. It is wide open. It's a wide open floor. The entire floor of this spacious building. I mean, there's no beams, no supports. Everybody can see everybody, no matter where you are in the room. If you need to, get an answer from somebody, you can either shout it out or walk over. It's wide open. There's no walls. It's a great work environment. There's no question. It's one big happy family down there.
When you come into the building, the main entrance.
Yeah.
They have a fireplace.
Yep.
You have this big First Star Logistics sign that has running water in it, which is unique in itself.
Massive TV screens.
Yeah. Well, is the one even a screen? Because I mean, that's more like going to an arena and seeing a video board.
Yeah. It's like going to the movies.
The whole wall.
No doubt.
Josh Hodlin. Dave, what do you feel is an area the Bengals could look to add to before the season, or do you think they are set roster-wise?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they did the adding that they wanted to do in terms of signing the college free agents that they signed. I mean, I could see potentially, again, another veteran player in the second phase of free agency potentially, being talked about, but it wouldn't surprise me. They've got with the college free agents that they brought to camp and that are working out now in organized team activities. They got like 87 guys on the roster. I don't know if you have to have 90 anymore or not, if there's a minimum or if they've already exceeded the minimum. I don't know. With collective bargaining agreements, those numbers change. But I think they've got a pretty full house. And again, like I said, if in fact there is somebody available, there's a reason for that availability. And if it's close, if it's a veteran free agent, and you project your draft pick or a college free agent that you have like a prize college free agent that you thought would go in the 5th, 6th, 7th round of the NFL draft, and it didn't work out that way. That's the case with some of these college free agents. I mean, there's let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They've got a lot of college free agents that they had projected to go in late day 2, day 3 of the draft. So I think they feel pretty good about the guys they have coming in competing for positions. Like we always talk about 10 draft picks, and they always have a role in mind for a guy that they're going to pick. So it's not like we're just going to draft a guy just to draft him. It's like he's the best on the board, but it's not like he doesn't fit for what we think he can give us. I mean, you have to marry it a little bit. So all 10 of those draft picks, am I saying all 10 are going to make the football team? I don't know. All eight of their draft picks made it last year. Will all 10 make at least the practice squad? Potentially. For all 10 to make the 53-man roster? That would be unbelievable, putting your bat on the ball. But they have roles in mind for them, and will the player expand on that role? Some of them do. A lot of them do. We'll see how this group unfolds.
Natty Ron, Dave, is you can probably talk a little bit more on this. Is Volson the under-the-radar guy this year? Talk about going into year 3 of your NFL career and how what should fans expect that maybe out of Volson in year 3?
Yeah, I mean, I think Volson had a very solid rookie year and kind of plateaued maybe a little bit into the second year. So now here it is, third year, bring it on, get after it. I think the only thing that I saw that was a factor on a fairly consistent basis for Cordell Volson was a little bit of over eagerness, a little bit of over aggressiveness, a little bit of lean attack. So when you're attacking, you're leaning, and you're giving your shoulders up, you're giving your upper body away to defensive linemen. You don't want to do that, and he is extremely athletic, big, strong guy. I think he's going to have a really, really strong third year in the National Football League. And I mean, to play as much as he played in his rookie year was a major coup, major credit. And then last year, I think he'd be the first to tell you he had anticipated or hoped that it might have gone a little bit better than it did from a consistency basis. He still played. I mean, he's a solid player. He's a really good player, and I think this year, use last year as a learning experience. Don't take anything for granted, and talk about doing all the right things in the off season, getting ready for this all important third year. It's big because now pretty soon you're going to be going to the table again to talk contract. So you want to start putting some good reps, some good games under your belt on a consistent basis.
Our good friend of the program, Dolores Cole. Hey, Dave and Dave, even with the technical difficulties, the interviews with Coach Zach and Lou were great. And that's technology is great as long as it's working.
Right.
And we had a computer software glitch that I think we figured out when we moved over to the new studio. So Dolores, thank you for the kind comments. But we do take it serious. And when we mess up, we mess up. And, we hope that doesn't happen again.
But yeah, we are very fortunate in that, Zach makes himself available to us, the coordinators in all 3 phases, offense, defense, special teams, as well as position coaches. I mean, we've been very, very fortunate that they agree to participate in the trenches on as regular basis as they do. And we greatly, greatly appreciate them doing so.
Jim Browning, seems the quality of the draft this year is one of the best in recent memory. Lots of quality picks and upgrade in talent.
Now, is Jim talking about league-wide or for the Bengals? I'm assuming Bengals.
Yeah, I'd say Bengals.
Yeah, I'd say Bengals. And I agree, Jim. I mean, I think, when you're drafting who the positions that the Bengals addressed, you're not going you don't need a quarterback, obviously. And They draft an offensive tackle in the first round. They draft a defensive tackle in the second round. In the third round, they draft a wide receiver who I think is going to be he's going to really help him. Jermaine Burton's a big-time player. Chris Jenkins, the second-round pick. Mims obviously is his ceiling is almost unrecognizable. It's so high. He is going to be something special. I don't think he needs to be rushed. I don't think he will be rushed, but I think he is going to be very, very extraordinary. He's got all the tangibles, every physical asset that you need to be great. He's got it. He really does. And he's smart, and he's got all the intangibles as well. Chris Jenkins in the second round, Burton in the third round, McKinley Jackson, the third round pick, Eric All in the fourth round. I mean, I should say the fourth round pick. They had him as a early third round pick on their board. Josh Newton, they got in the fifth round. He was a late third round pick on their board. Sixth round, they got McLachlan, the tight end out of Arizona, and they had him as a higher rated player. He was the best player available. And then Eric Johnson, defensive end out of Ole Miss, an edge guy. They had him rated in the beginning of the fifth round. They got him in the sixth round. Then both seventh round picks, they had Anthony, the defensive back out of Ole Miss, rated early in the sixth round. And they had Matt Lee, the center out of Miami, Florida. They got him in the seventh round. The last pick that they had at pick number 237, they had him rated early in the fifth round. So everybody's board is different. Everybody looks at players differently. Everybody runs different systems. That's why they look at different players differently, because some guys fit systems better than other systems. But bottom line is, I agree. I think the Bengals got a very, very solid draft. They're excited about it. It wasn't sexy, but they addressed a lot of blue collar, gritty, get down and dirty positions that needed to be addressed, and they feel pretty good about it.
I want to remind everybody, Dan Pitcher's interview is up today. It's getting hit good already. Talks about all the offensive draft picks. And I think, we were kind of a couple minutes late coming on this live stream, Dave.
Yes.
Because we were talking to one of our favorite guests, Mr. Solomon Wilcox.
Yes, Solly.
And boy, people are going to want to watch that, because not just we talk about schedule, you talk about the draft.
Yep.
And he really likes Mr. Burton.
No question. And I'm coming from Solomon Wilcox, who I respect his football opinions in general. But when you're talking about wide receivers, having played the safety position like he did for as long as he did, he's an extremely intelligent player, and it shows. I mean, he's so articulate, tremendous broadcaster. If he likes a player, if he thinks a wide receiver has potential, I remember when he was a player, he would say, when I was talking to him at training camp, man, this dude they got, in the seventh round, TJ Hushmanzada, you're going to be a player. He can play. He knows of what he speaks from a talent standpoint, and particularly at the wide receiver position. And when I, again, said it before, watching Burton on tape, TJ Hushmanzada, we just mentioned, he's his mentor, and he basically worked with young Burton, and you can see TJ Hushmanzada all over his route running. TJ was the master at changing speeds, sinking his hips differently, getting in and out of cuts. He never ran a 10-yard out route the same way 2 times in a row. And Burton's got a lot of that in him. So I think he's got, deep speed. He can take the top off of defense. He's a good route runner. He's got exceptional hands. You really have to scour tape to see a drop. He's the real deal. It'll be very interesting to see him on the football field with Chase and Higgins and what they've got in that wide receiver room for sure.
Not so much a player thing. D.E. Elliott, why doesn't the Bengals have orange pants to go with their orange jerseys? Is it a league rule or a team choice?
The league has to approve. The Bengals have worn orange pants. I don't know if they're going to do that this year. They do have an all orange uniform they've worn. It has been worn, orange pants, orange jersey. They do have to get permission from the league to break. They have to tell the league how many games they've decided they're going to wear this, black pants with a white jersey, black pants with a black jersey, black pants with white jersey. Those are the traditionals. If you're going to have a different uniform, you have to basically inform the league well before the season. You have to do it during the off season. And I'm not sure if they have to break out the orange jersey or the orange pants. Orange jersey probably has a higher percentage of being seen next year than the orange pants, but you never know.
We're going to go back to Jim Browning. He says, don't you think having the same left tackle besides Volson will help him develop a stronger rhythm? And we recently had Orlando Brown Jr. on, and he's excited about working with Volson.
Yeah. I mean, Volson he's still a piece of clay, a big piece of clay that's being molded. And I think he's in a great situation. We've talked about this before. Not only having Orlando Brown on his outside, Ted Karras on his inside. Those two guys, you can't ask for better mentors. You can't ask for guys that can recognize defenses like that and make calls like that and take a lot of pressure off a young guy, because all of that's determined and deciphered immediately, and it's done accurately, like 100% of the time. That gives a young player a tremendous amount of confidence. I mean, when you have two players, professional players, to the extent that these two guys are from a professionalism standpoint, it's great for the development of a young player like Volson. And he's cut from that cloth as well.
Dave, you're going to like this. Old guy hustle. We can relate to that. Burton Gase are going to be game changers this year. Who day?
Yeah, I agree. Gesicki is he's got what it takes. I think he is so excited about playing with Joe Burrow. He is going to take advantage of the middle of the football field, because we already talked about the wide receiver core, and when you have receivers like that on the perimeter, they draw a lot of attention, and rightfully so. And you can't double everybody. At some point, the middle of the football field is going to be a little bit vulnerable if they are rotating people to the outside to take care of, outside receivers. And if you've got a slot receiver like Burton, who, might draw a lot of attention, a Gesicki or whatever tight end that's lining up potentially over there as a sole tight end, and he might be at the line of scrimmage, or he may be detached, and he may be in a slot as well. Maybe they're going two slot receivers, and the tight end being one of those slot receivers. So it's going to be interesting to see the contribution that he's going to make as well. I mean, when he was down there in Miami with Tua throwing to him, put up some numbers. I mean, it was a nightmare in New England for the New England Patriots and Gesicki. In Jones and everybody involved, and Jones is no longer there. It's a new lease on life for him, I think, to be in Cincinnati with Joe Burrow as his quarterback, and Joe Burrow likes him as a target in the middle of the football field as well. He's going to get his share of opportunity.
Joe Wood. Dave, what's your initial take on how efficient the run game can be this season with the added O-lineman and our new back? How important is the run game to opening up the high-octane passing game?
Yeah, it's a must. There's no question about it. I do think that the run game, the potential for the run game is extraordinary. It's now when you have a quarterback, like Joe Burrow, you are going to be like pass centric to a point. But as you said, the running game only makes that aspect of your offense even better. The running back position, Zach Moss, we had him on as a podcast guest. He's a really, really solid human being on top of being a great player. They really like his ability as a running back. Chase Brown, I've watched him at OTAs running routes out of the backfield. Telling you, Chase Brown can fly. This kid can fly. He's running as fast as any wide receiver the Bengals have out there. And he's a home run hitter. if you can get him in open space, somehow find gash that front seven, he'll be with those shoulder pads squared up, let him hit it going north and south square pads. Safeties won't be able to react in time. I mean, he'll be hitting his head on the goalpost. I mean, he's got that big play capability. There's no question about that with Chase Brown. And Travion Williams is solid as a rock. Chris Evans, I think they feel good about their running back position. And then, they also signed running backs as free agents. They signed Elijah Collins out of Oklahoma State, college free agent. Noah Cain out of LSU, college free agent as well. So they're going to have a full stable at the running back position. And the running back is only as good as you mentioned, the offensive line. And I think this group, this offensive line, being as big and massive as they are, they're going to cover people up. I mean, I'm excited to see them perform not only as pass protectors for Joe Burrow, but in that running game. And it's not like they're big plodding stiffs. I mean, these guys can get out and pull. They can run. They can all run. They're all fluid. They're all mobile. I mean, no chinks in the armor there, boy. It's crazy.
Yeah, you had a chance to go down some of the, off-season works.
Yep.
You saw Mims up close.
Yep.
You talked about him the day he came in after the draft for the press meetings and all that stuff.
Yeah.
What was it like seeing him on the field with Coach Pollock actually showing you what he could do?
Yeah. I mean, he is his short space quickness is good, really good. A lot of stuff that's going on now. There's no pads, obviously. It's not really even underwear ball yet. It's even a little bit. It's in the early stages of underwear ball. They're not even running offense against defense yet, but they will run. On air. They'll run 11 offensive guys in a formation on air, and just to watch him do some of the things he does. He is impressive. He is a physical phenom. There's no other way to put it. He's got everything that if you were to put requirements or what you'd like to see in a premier offensive tackle loaded into a computer, he comes spitting out that other end physically. I mean, he does have that kind of potential. I mean, everybody is really, really excited about him. And the thing is too, he is a sponge. When the veterans came in, rookie minicamp was one thing to watch, but then when the veteran players came in, to see him, being mentored and listening, and him being the one to initiate it. He's the one that's asking questions. That was a good sign as well. I think Mims I think he's made of the right stuff, both tangibly and intangibly. And I think he's going to have a long and brilliant career. I really do.
Vinny asked, Dave, do you think this roster is better than the 2021 team? I think be the best team we've had around Burrow.
I think it's in that category. I do think maybe it is a cut above. I do agree. I think that it is potentially the best team that we've had around Burrow in terms of overall talent, but that 2021 team got it done. They played and achieved. They were successful. So right now, this team is it's all talk. It's all it is right now. You have to go out and start proving it. But do they have the potential to be the best team that has surrounded Joe Burrow to date? Hell, yes, they do. I agree.
Josh Holland, do you think with how the Bengals used Browning under center more, they could start to use those formations with Burrow?
I mean, they could. That's coaching decision based on feedback from Joe Burrow. It's a matter of preference. And I think, Joe has gone on record as saying that he likes to be facing the defense and take a shotgun snap that way and never take his eyes off the defense. Whereas if you're under center, and particularly if you're play action, you're taking your eyes off the defense. And even if you're, and you're under center, even when you're dropping back, your eyes aren't straight down the football field like you are in the shotgun. So That's a preference that Joe has. And you can run your offense out of the shotgun or under center. Is it easier to get your running game married a little bit better when you're under center? Probably so. But they've done a pretty good job being able to, structure a run game out of the shotgun formation. It's probably a little bit more limited than if you're under center. But, if you've got 2 or 3 runs that you're hammering at and you're having some success at, play action pass off of those, already you got a pretty good offense going.
Eric Lewis asks, why do you think they didn't address the interior O-line in the draft? They kind of did. The center Lee.
They took Lee in the 7th round, center out of Miami, Florida, and they like him. They like him a lot. And I've seen him at the rookie mini camp, and he's he's a guy that they like, that he played. I think he had 52 starts down at Miami, played against really, really good competition. He's a finisher. He's aggressive. Not the biggest guy in the world, and that's the reason he was there in the 7th round. They had him rated as an early 5th round guy, but his technique, the way he finishes blocks, they really like him. They think he's got some potential. So they did take one. And then in college free agency, let me see here. In terms of offensive linemen, let's see. They took Rusty Feth out of Iowa, another center, almost 6'3", 311-pounder. They took, let's see, an offensive tackle out of Louisville, local kid, Eric Miller. He played at Fairfield, if I'm not mistaken.
That's local too. Coleraine. He originally started his career at Miami, and George Barnett was the O-line coach at Miami, got hired at Iowa, and that's how he ended up in Iowa.
And I'm trying to see if there are any other offensive linemen. I think that's pretty much it. So they did address the interior of the offensive line, in college free agency as well as outside on the edge.
We're going to go to one of another our show regulars, Cliff Peoples. I think he's still out in Cali. He was asked about the guys being traded, asking to be traded. We know what T. Higgins has said. And you also get into Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson showed up. He said, hey, he's a pro. And you're on both sides, Dave. You were a player. You've seen guys go and, hey, I want to be traded. A lot of times it's just talk to try to get something started in contract, future negotiations, right? Yeah.
A lot of it is frustration boiling over, and with Trey can be a mercurial kind of guy from an emotional standpoint. And he uses that to his advantage on the football field. Let me tell you that right now. He is, he's passionate. There's no question about it. But he reported to camp, to the organized team activities, and said that, he's not going to do anything that will hurt the team. He's not going to put himself above the team. He realizes that it's a business that sometimes it can be a cold business. He feels like he does deserve a little bit more based on the year he had last year, but he's going to go about things from a team-oriented standpoint. And I thought he comported himself really well in the press conferences that he had after the first OTA that he reported to. And he's a leader of the football team. And Joe Burrow at his presser said, with respect to Hendrickson and Higgins as a teammate, it's like, let them handle their business. It's everybody has to do what they have to do to take care of themselves and their families, and everybody understands. But Trey decided that it was better to report and work with his teammates than to not do so and demand a trade and let the chips fall where they may.
We're getting ready to wrap this up, Dave. We got to remind everybody, please, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to Dave Lapham in the Trenches or the First Star Media Group channel on YouTube. Reminders that you can find a lot of episodes of the Dave Lapham in the Trenches podcast wherever you get your podcast from. We want to thank everybody who has already subscribed. and who visit us when we do these live streams. We look forward to doing more of these. The facilities that we've got here now are second to none. And, it's been a great day. It's hard to believe it's already been 3 years we've been doing this.
It's crazy. It's crazy that 3 years have flown by. And a big reason why is you guys. I mean, we love your feedback. I learned stuff by interacting with you guys. I mean, it opens my eyes to things maybe a little bit differently. One way of thinking about it. There's always more than one way, and you guys open up other ways to think about things, and I appreciate that. And the more of that kind of feedback that I get, I really do use your thoughts and what you think about the Cincinnati Bengals and the National Football League. Believe me.
And we can't thank First Star Logistics enough for everything they've done for us over the last 3 years. Equipment, facilities, everything that you name it, we ask, we get it.
Yep. It's almost like, you want to get drafted by a team that'll set you up to succeed. Dave, we get drafted by a team that set us up to succeed. First Star Logistics, man. It's the First Star Logistics is the best in the league, baby.
If you're looking for a new career, First Star Logistics is the place to be.
Yes, sir.
They're hiring, looking for freight brokers. All right, last two questions, Dave.
All right.
Benny, we're going to go back to Benny. He said, Dave, is there a game you're excited to be on the call for or travel for? I know you like going to Baltimore for the food.
Yeah.
You go to the seafood.
The seafood is extraordinary in Baltimore. There's no question about that. Boy, I don't know. I mean, so many of them really. The game that I'm really looking forward to, I'd say Kansas City and Kansas City. I think that game is hugely important. I mean, second game of the year. If they can get that victory out there on the road against that packed place, they're off and running. I mean, they could literally start the season 4-0. So I do like traveling to Kansas City because they get great barbecue out there as well. So it's always food oriented. But the fan base is crazy out there. Travel to, let's see, there's a lot of teams I'm looking forward to seeing. Traveling to Dallas is always a lot of fun. That's a great city. Is everything that you could imagine wanting to do can be done in Dallas. It's a great stop. So
Jerry's World's crazy.
Jerry's World's nuts.
I covered a college football playoff game down there, and it's just unbelievable. We think we got a big screen out here in the new lobby of First Star Logistics, and it's giant.
Right.
But that one in Jerry's World, when you can sit in the press box and you just look out and you can see everything, it looks like you're looking at the field.
They say that that big screen 4-sided on the field it goes from like the 20 to the 20-yard line. It covers like 60 yards of AstroTurf. That's how big the thing is. And it's about the entire width of the football team, like 53 inches wide or 53 yards wide. That thing, most scoreboards that are hanging like that 4-sided in stadiums around the league, it could almost eat every single one of them up. It's that big. It's like 5 times bigger than the second largest in the National Football League. And that's what Jerry World's about, right, Dave? I mean, it's got to be bigger.
Yeah.
Jerry has to have it bigger.
Press room food was great.
Oh, yeah. It's awesome.
So, all right, last one, Dave. Andrew Montrial. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that properly. Hey, Dave, I'm about to buy tickets for a Bengals game down in Cincy for the first time. I'm super excited. Any game in particular I should come see?
Well, you better make a decision quickly because I'm sure tickets are going hot and heavy. Let's see. I would take a Philadelphia Eagles game in a heartbeat. I would take a Baltimore Ravens game. Any of the division games I'd take in a heartbeat. But Philadelphia is an extraordinary football team to watch. I would probably lean in that direction, if not a division game. But division games are always a lot of fun and competitive. So those are the 4, the 3 division opponents, and then the Philadelphia Eagles. I think are are a very, very fine football team. It's going to be a great game to watch.
Dave, any last comments you have before we leave?
No, I just want to express gratitude once again. The fact that we've been doing this for the amount of time we've been doing it, like Dave mentioned, 3 years, it just blows your mind. And we appreciate the loyalty of you guys. That's the thing. It's like, you know, it's not a bunch of one-hit wonders out there. You guys are there again, and again. And we're going to continue to try to put the best programming we can come up with out there for your consumption. And we hope we'll satisfy your needs in that regard.
All right, everybody. Thanks again for joining us today on special Dave Lapham in the Trenches live stream, talking about the Bengals schedule and more. And we'll look forward to seeing you more. Be sure to check out the content. Dan Pitcher's up right now. And yes, you have to, as Dolores said, you have to excuse the audio. You can still hear. It just sounds like Dave's far away. And
I'm in a barrel somewhere.
Yeah. So the Zach Taylor and Lou Anarumo was great information. But until next time, everybody, Who Dey?
Who Dey?
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realized self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be